am still in central Pennsylvania, and right now I'm hiking a ridge through some really good rattlesnake habitat. So let's see what I can find. It's really important to watch your step up here, because this is really good timber rattlesnake habitat, and you never know where one will be.
Unfortunately, after a while of searching, I wasn't able to find anything, despite the promising habitat.
Alright, I'm heading down the mountain now. Didn't find anything up there, unfortunately.
Once I made it down off the ridge, I found myself in a really nice valley, a welcome change in scenery. However, I had already given up on finding a timber rattlesnake, as all the good habitat was up on the mountain.
Well, I made it back to the campground, and I was walking around looking for black rat snakes. This is where they always hang out. And I almost walked right up to this black-faced timber rattlesnake. Of course, I walk on a ridge for 3 miles and don't see a single thing. And then I come back into the campground and there's a beautiful black-faced timber rattlesnake sitting right there. I might try to get him out in the open a bit more, but very carefully. There we go. And now he's over here. If this guy was any bigger, I wouldn't want to be doing this. Now that he's riled up, I definitely don't want to get too close.
The timber rattlesnake is one of Pennsylvania's few highly venomous species. Fortunately, they have a very laid-back temperament and are reluctant to bite. After I released this one, I followed it for a bit, and to my amazement, it started climbing a tree. As it turns out, timber rattlesnakes are surprisingly arboreal for their size. After I left that rattlesnake, it wasn't long before some friends of mine noticed something a little down the road.
Look at that. Not a very big one. He's probably gonna bite me here. This one's even smaller than the one I found yesterday. Here's another look at this black rat snake. This is a pretty small one. I'd guess about 3 to 3.5 feet long. But these guys can get up to 8 feet long. Here's a look at that belly. They have a bit of a checkerboard pattern, and then it fades to black. Alright, I'm just gonna let him go right back in the direction he was going when I found him. Alright, so unfortunately it's getting a little hot to find snakes, so fast forward to this evening. And now it's evening, and I'm gonna be walking along this creek looking for turtles. So let's see what I can find. Looks like this guy's got some mud on his shell. Good size. Look at that. That is a common snapping turtle. Very cool. Alright, there's no need to mess with this guy too much, so I'm just gonna let him go. He got one snap in at the end there. That is so cool.
The next morning, I decided to start my day climbing a 2,000-foot mountain.
Still on the trail.
It was definitely a little harder than I expected, and I didn't find any snakes, but it was still a great hike. After I climbed back down the mountain, I went out to the creek to look for snakes, and I pretty quickly found this northern water snake. These are completely harmless, although feisty, but they can resemble some venomous snakes like this copperhead.
There's one. Look at that. Another one. Very cool. I'll just let him go. Oh! A little baby one. Look at that. Beautiful. Very angry, as these guys usually are. Here's another look at this cute little baby water snake. That's awesome. There he goes.
Unfortunately, it started to heat up again, making it impossible to continue looking for snakes. To escape the heat, my family and I went to a nearby cave. This cave is actually the source of the creek where I was finding those water snakes. It finally cooled off after some thunderstorms, so I decided to climb another mountain.
Alright, I made it to the top, and I was not expecting this, but it is completely cleared out up here.
This interesting habitat was caused by logging, but is actually great for snakes because of the amount of sunlight and places to hide.
Look at this. That is a red-bellied snake basking. That is so cool. It's pretty obvious where these guys get their name. They're just bright red on the bottom.
The red-bellied snake is one of the smallest snakes in Pennsylvania, reaching top lengths of about 12 inches.
Alright, so now I'm at another spot with lots of rocks to flip, so I'm gonna see what I can find. Ooh, that's cool. That's a little baby ringneck snake. These guys are pretty similar to those red-bellied snakes, but they have a yellow belly instead, and they do get a little bit bigger. This one's just a baby. This is another fossorial species, meaning that they spend most of their time underground. Alright, here he goes. Back under his concrete slab.
Although I love these tiny fossorial species, I was ready to find something a little bigger, and luckily I wouldn't have to wait long.
Look at that. Finally got a big black rat snake. Unfortunately, it's on the move here. This is one of the bigger black rat snakes I've seen here. Definitely a good 6-footer. Alright, I'm just gonna grab him before he gets too far away. As you can see, he's pretty defensive there. Alright, I'm taking him out into the open a bit more. Look at that. Just an absolute unit. These guys have probably the least bad bite of any snake this size. You barely feel a thing. Alright, so fortunately, this black rat snake did calm down a little bit. Definitely one of the things I really wanted to see this week. A bigger black rat snake. And I don't want to bother him too much, so I'm just gonna let him go. What a snake. Look at that.